In the 19th century, science was confronted with a mysterious enigma: the distribution of identical species in India and Madagascar, which are separated by thousands of miles of ocean. The proposed solution is Lemuria, a now sunken landmass that the theory holds connected these distant lands. This concept, suggesting the existence of a continent lost beneath the waters of the Indian Ocean, was first proposed by zoologist Philip Sclater in 1864 and named after the lemurs that inhabited Madagascar. Lemuria quickly transcended its scientific origins, sparking legends of an advanced civilization. Kumari Kandam, a land known in Tamil literature, is intertwined with Lemuria, suggesting a common history. This civilization, believed to have existed more than 14,000 years ago, was advanced beyond its contemporaries, with knowledge and technology that challenges our understanding of the capabilities of ancient humans. The mystery of Lemuria lies not only in its supposed technological achievements but also in its role as a cultural and spiritual beacon. As the theory developed, so did the stories of its demise, sunk by geological upheaval or perhaps by its own hubris, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in mystery. Today, Lemuria invites us to question the linear narrative of human progress. It serves as a rallying point for discussions about lost knowledge, ancient wisdom, and the possibility of civilizations that once charted a different path in history. But what if the remnants of Lemuria are waiting to be discovered, holding the keys to a past far different from what we have been led to believe? Could unlocking Lemuria's secrets challenge our understanding of human history and our place in the cosmos? Or could it actually be the Lemurian civilization that shaped the very foundations of our world? The Lemuria hypothesis arose as a result of scientific inquiry by Philip Sclater in the 1860s, who was puzzled by the widespread occurrence of lemur fossils in Madagascar, India, and Africa. Sclater's theory, originally published in the Quarterly Journal of Science, proposed a submerged landmass, Lemuria, to explain this zoological mystery. This theory spread among various scientists of the era, including Ernst Haeckel, a German biologist who saw Lemuria as a potential cradle of human evolution. The link between Lemuria and the Tamil legend of Kumari Kandam was later established by scholars and writers in India who identified Kumari Kandam as a sunken land, mentioned in ancient Tamil texts. These texts describe a vast territory extending beyond the southern tip of India, submerged by successive floods. Tamil scholars of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, such as Suryanarayana Sastri, began to link this mythological land with Lemuria, suggesting that Kumari Kandam was part of a once great civilization that stretched across the Indian Ocean. The Lemurian civilization is also represented in theosophical writings and later esoteric traditions. There it is characterized by its supposed technological and spiritual sophistication. Helena Blavatsky, co-founder of the Kontur Theosophical Society in the late 19th century, described Lemurians in her writings as possessing psychic abilities and technologies powered by the forces of nature. These descriptions, largely speculative and without archaeological support, present Lemuria as a society in which humans lived in harmony with their environment, drawing energy from crystals with the aid of and for their advanced technology, including supposed anti-gravity devices and sophisticated craft. Blavatsky's accounts, along with those of later theosophists such as Scott Elliott, who in 1896 developed the culture and technology of Lemuria in The Story of Atlantis and The Lost Lemuria, offer a vision of Lemuria that contrasts sharply with known historical civilizations. Shrouded in mystery, Lemuria. The mystery of Lemuria goes beyond its speculative geography and is the basis of numerous mysteries concerning its existence, social structure, and advanced abilities attributed to its inhabitants. Despite the lack of concrete archaeological evidence, the lore of Lemuria is rich in description. the exact location of Lemuria remains a matter of debate among scholars. Proposed hypotheses suggest that it encompassed parts of the Indian and Pacific Oceans, and some conjectures extend its boundaries to the coasts of Africa and Australia. This huge landmass, supposedly submerged due to geological upheaval or rising sea levels, is often depicted in ancient maps and texts as a bridge connecting the different continents. The mystery is compounded by the fact that no physical remains have yet been found, leading some people to speculate on Lemuria's existence. Lemurian society, as described in various esoteric traditions, was advanced not only in terms of technology, but also in terms of governance and social structure. It is said to have been a matriarchal society in which equality and understanding prevailed and conflicts were resolved through wisdom and understanding rather than war. The Lemurians are thought to have harnessed the power of crystals for energy, used sophisticated means of communication that overcame language barriers, and developed methods of transportation that allowed them to move easily by land as well as by water and air. The spiritual life of Lemuria is often characterized by a deep connection to Earth and the cosmos. The Lemurians are said to have practiced a form of spirituality that emphasized oneness with all living beings, using meditation and techniques to enhance psychic abilities and create telepathic communication networks. Presumably, this spiritual advancement paralleled their technological progress, suggesting a civilization in which technological and spiritual pursuits complemented each other, which in turn led to a society living in perfect harmony with nature and the universe. What caused the end of Lemuria? What happened to Lemuria? This question is shrouded in myth and speculation, but it marks the most gripping chapter in the saga of lost civilizations. Theories about the end of Lemuria are as varied as they are dramatic, ranging from natural disasters to self-inflicted technological catastrophes. One common hypothesis claims that Lemuria fell victim to massive geological upheaval. Volcanic eruptions, significant tectonic changes, and subsequent tsunamis are often cited as the main natural forces behind the continent's sinking. These events, probably triggered during the ice melt periods of the last ice age, could have led to a rapid rise in sea levels that submerged the continent beneath the waves. This hypothesis is supported by geological evidence of significant submarine seismic activity in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, and precisely in the areas where Lemuria is thought to have been located. Another intriguing hypothesis suggests that the end of Lemuria was the result of the misuse of advanced technology. Legends have it that Lemurian society achieved incredible technological feats, including manipulating natural energies and creating powerful technologies. Some accounts suggest that these technologies, especially those related to energy manipulation, became unstable, leading to catastrophic environmental consequences. The aftermath of Lemuria's extinction is a narrative of survival and diaspora. The surviving Lemurians are believed to have dispersed across the globe, seeking refuge in other lands. These survivors most likely carried with them the knowledge and traditions of Lemuria, and gave rise to the development of future civilizations. Thus, the influence of Lemurian culture, technology, and spirituality is thought to have permeated societies around the world, from the ancient Egyptians to pre-Columbian civilizations in the Americas. The likelihood that they did not intentionally share everything they knew is high. They probably gave us what we needed, but not what led to their demise. Or perhaps, unwillingly, by their very act of sharing, they sowed the seeds of our end? What if Lemuria exists? If Lemuria is proven to exist, it could radically change our understanding of human history and the evolution of civilizations. Far from being a mere archaeological triumph, this hypothetical discovery will unravel the mystery of advanced prehistoric societies, shedding light on the unknown capabilities and technological achievements of our ancestors. The discovery of Lemuria would require a profound reassessment of historical chronologies. Current models of human progress, which trace a linear path from primitive beginnings to modern complexity, would be challenged by evidence of a civilization that probably predates the oldest known societies, such as those of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley. The existence of Lemuria could reveal that humans achieved high levels of technological and social organization much earlier than previously thought. This discovery would offer unprecedented insight into the capabilities of ancient humans. If the legends prove true, the Lemurians mastered technologies that harnessed natural energies, made significant advances in healing and material sciences, and may even have developed forms of communication and transportation that go beyond our current understanding. Such discoveries would not only expand our knowledge of human ingenuity, but also inspire modern innovations guided by ancient wisdom. Or perhaps this is exactly what the few remaining Lemurians didn't want to happen after the demise of their continent. Thank you for your support of the channel. As a token of your appreciation, please write in a comment the topic on which you would like us to create a video. If your comment with the suggested topic garners the most likes within 72 hours of posting the video, there is a chance to see your suggestion screened by us. What did Lemuria look like? Imaginative reconstructions of Lemuria often present it as an idyllic paradise, a testament to what human civilization can achieve when in perfect harmony with nature and technology. These vivid descriptions are based on a mixture of myth, speculation, and spiritual texts, presenting Lemuria not only as a place but also as the pinnacle of human potential. It is often described as adorned with lush, verdant landscapes where nature flourishes, untouched by the ravages of industrialization. Forests, mountains, and crystal-clear waters coexisted with carefully designed cities where architecture worked in tandem with the environment, not against it. This symbiotic relationship between Lemurians and their surroundings is often cited as a model for sustainable living, showing a deep respect for the natural world that modern societies seek to recapture. Lemurian architectural achievements are described as aesthetically magnificent and technologically advanced. Buildings often said to be constructed of crystalline materials are said to have harnessed natural energies, serving both practical and spiritual purposes. Lemuria's infrastructure, including its transportation systems and energy grids, is presented as highly sophisticated, allowing not only efficient movement and communication, but also the distribution of free and clean energy. Central to descriptions of Lemuria is the notion of a society that has mastered the balance between technological advancement and spiritual enlightenment. Spiritual advancement was not seen as separate from technological advancement, but as complementary to it, with technology being used to enhance spiritual practices and vice versa. Lemuria versus Atlantis. The stories of Lemuria and Atlantis represent two of the most fascinating legends of lost civilizations in human history. Both continents are said to have disappeared underwater, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in mystery. Despite their similarities, Atlantis often occupies a more prominent place in collective consciousness and literature, a phenomenon that can be traced to its roots in Western philosophical texts. In the first place, the story of Atlantis has its origins in the writings of Plato, an ancient Greek philosopher whose works have been foundational to Western education and philosophical thought for centuries. Plato's detailed account of Atlantis as a powerful and advanced society that fell out of favor with God has captured the imagination of Western scholars, writers, and the public for millennia. This direct connection to such an influential figure as Plato secured Atlantis a prominent place in the cultural and intellectual landscape of the West. Unlike the Atlanteans, Lemuria originated in the speculative theories of 19th-century science that sought to explain biological anomalies. It lacks an ancient source comparable to Plato's dialogues. Instead, The account of Lemuria was adopted and developed by theosophists and esoteric writers in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, who gave it spiritual and mystical significance. While Lemuria thus receives a rich narrative, it is set in a subaltern context that limits its access to a wider audience. Moreover, Atlantis has been featured extensively in popular media, including films, novels, and television shows, and is often shown as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pride and the moral decay of society. This narrative resonates with universal themes of pride, fallenness, and redemption, making it an appealing story for a wide audience. Lemuria, with its emphasis on spiritual enlightenment and harmony with nature, offers a narrative that, while deeply intriguing, is not as close to the dramatic arcs favored in mainstream narratives. In essence, Atlantis's greater popularity than that of Lemuria is the result of its ancient pedigree, its conformity to Western philosophical traditions, and its adaptability to narratives of pride and fallenness that have wide appeal. Lemuria's history, though rich in spiritual and cultural depth, has followed a more esoteric path, known and valued only in certain circles, but less familiar to the general public. Upon closer examination, however, it appears that the spiritually and culturally rich depth of the Lemurian narrative offers a fascinating counterpoint to the story of Atlantis that deserves equal attention and study. One hypothesis suggests that the conflict between these two complex ancient civilizations, Lemuria and Atlantis, was actually subliminally inflamed by the Anunnaki, who manipulated the Atlanteans. In the Akakor Chronicles, author Carl Bruguera describes that two continents served as home to two divine races. These two civilizations, presenting themselves as vastly more advanced than the current ones, engaged in a conflict that escalated to a battle involving the use of aircraft and nuclear weapons that led to the destruction of Atlantis. Akakor describes in his work that the Earth was shrouded in darkness. Although the sun continued to shine, thick darkness covered everything around, with unusual phenomena appearing in the sky. The heavens were colored in unnatural colors, and symbolic signs appeared. The dispute that began grew into a huge conflict, as the mutual attempts of the two races to drain energy from each other led to catastrophic changes on the planet, including changes in rivers, mountains, and climate. Although one version holds that Atlanteans had lived in peace and harmony in Atlantis since 210,000 BC, invaders called Anunnaki began to negatively affect them. The conflict with Lemuria heated up when corrupt Atlanteans, identifying themselves as sons of Belial, entered into a dispute with the Lemurians over dominance of Earth. Atlantis wanted to subjugate all other tribes and civilizations, while the Lemurians insisted that other peoples developed naturally and independently and demanded peace for all. The sons of Belial declared war on Lemuria, which escalated to a nuclear catastrophe, leading to the destruction of millions and forcing the survivors to seek refuge. A series of natural disasters triggered by nuclear explosions led to the sinking of Atlantis. To date, we can only hope to one day learn the truth about these civilizations. Are their descendants still with us, but hiding in the shadows for fear of repeating their tragedy if they share more with us than they should? Could it be that the few surviving Atlanteans have fulfilled their plan for Earth domination after all, and they now rule behind the scenes? Interesting questions too, which we specifically have no way of answering. We can only speculate. For thousands of years, at certain moments, humanity has experienced strange evolutionary and technological leaps that in just a few years have moved us so much further forward than we ever imagined in our wildest dreams. How about we open this topic up in one of our other videos? What do you think? Deepen your adventure by watching our playlists. And if you want more, just play the next episode that comes up as a suggestion to your left.